Assalamu alaikum, Habibti. Shall we read a book? Check, check, check. The Mouse Who Carried a House on His Back. Vincent was a mouse with boots on his feet, a hat on his head, and a house on his back. He had traveled many miles and lived many places. But today, Vincent would live here, because he knew it was where he needed to be. The hill he stood on was an ordinary hill, with tall green grass, a well-traveled path, and a view of the sky that stretched for miles. Vincent took off his boots, he took off his hat, and finally, he took off his house. Not long after, a traveler hopped up the path. "Good morning," said Vincent. "What's good about it?" bellowed the bullfrog. "I've been hopping since sunrise. My legs cannot hop another hop." "If you wish," said Vincent, "you may rest your legs here, at my house." "Your house," scoffed the bullfrog. "It is much too tiny for a bullfrog such as I." But the bullfrog was mistaken. Vincent's house was much bigger than it appeared. As the sun rose high in the sky, a cat crept by. "You seem like a nice mouse," meowed the cat, "but I have traveled far, and I am terribly hungry. You would make a tasty snack." "I would not enjoy that," said the mouse politely. "Instead of having me for dinner, maybe you could come join me for dinner. I'm serving fresh honeycomb and warm milk." "Oh my," purred the cat, "that does indeed sound delicious, but I doubt I'll be able to fit inside your dining room." But the cat was mistaken. Vincent's house was much larger than it appeared. There was even room for a hungry cat. Clouds billowed in the west, and in blew a family of hedgehogs, one by one, by one by one, by one by one, by one, each wet and tousled by a mighty storm. "Terrible weather in the valley," squeaked the smallest. "Come in, come in," said Vincent with a smile. "I have warm blankets and beds and a crackling fire." "That is kind," they said, shivering, "but there are too many of us to fit inside a house as small as that." But of course, the hedgehogs were mistaken. More creatures wandered up the hill, a fox, two badgers, a herd of deer, all weary travelers seeking warmth, food, and a place to rest. The mouse invited each of them in. As the number of guests grew, so did Vincent's house. The house stood bright and full, brimming with warmth and the smell of freshly baked sweets. As dinner was served, there was a knock at the door. Darkness had come, and a bear with it. "I'm lost," growled the bear. "I'm hungry and far from home." "Then tonight," said Vincent cheerfully, "this will be your home." "No!" shouted the other animals, blocking the door so the bear could not enter. It was dark, and they were overcome with fear. They did not want to share a house with a bear that big and that hungry. "Don't let him in," croaked the bullfrog. "He might eat us," hissed the cat. "Or squish us," cried the hedgehogs. "Indeed," agreed all the animals, "there is no room for a bear in here." Vincent stood up as straight and tall as he could. "This is my house," he said, "and in my house all animals are welcome." "My dear mouse," replied the bear, "I do not want to intrude or cause trouble. Your home is bigger than I expected for a small mouse like you, but certainly not big enough to fit a bear like me." The mouse took the bear's hand. The mouse took the bear's large paw in his own. "There is always room here," said Vincent. There was enough room for a tired bullfrog, a hungry cat, a family of wet hedgehogs, a fox, 2 badgers, a herd of deer, and even one big, not-so-scary bear, far from home. That night the animals slept in the house on the hill, cozy and comfortable, full of honeycomb and warm milk, under a sky that stretched for miles. In the morning, each guest shook Vincent's tiny paw. "Thank you," they said, and one by one, by one by one by one, by one by one, they left. The bear was last. Vincent's home was empty, so he packed it up. Vincent had traveled many miles, but he always knew exactly where he needed to be. So off he went, a mouse with boots on his feet, a hat on his head, and a house on his back. The end. Assalamu alaikum, Habibti. I was going to ask Stripey to read the book with me, but I couldn't find him. Have you seen him? Oh well, I'll keep looking for him. I love you. Night night. Sweet dreams.